Vinay Kumar, founder of Insights IAS, and all of you have written the core batch entrance. Those who are sitting here, okay. So you want to be part of the core batch. Good. ठीक है. And you are aware of the core batch program, right? Good. And you want to know more about the core batch. हमेशा दिल्ली में ऐसे होता है कि whenever I start the session, no, the students come and sit. First 5 minutes they appear so serious, like everyone is like पता नहीं ये खाने की वजह से या भूख की वजह से, like totally everybody appears really serious. It's kind of scary. And then I try to crack some jokes to make you laugh and then start my session, right? Okay, so this core batch concept, anybody knows what is the concept behind core batch? No, आप लोग बात मत करो, OG. Anyway, I'll get answer from you also. So we have good OGP students who are like so enthusiastic to answer every question here. Good. No, it's okay. Yeah, the concept behind core batch, it started something like this. You know, the conventional approach was you attend the classes, you learn so much of knowledge from the teachers, from your books, sources, notes and everything. And then now and then you take mock test. For example, earlier it used to be one would write, let's say 10, 20 or 30 mock tests in a year before mains and then give the mains examination. But what I realized was that once the syllabus was changed in 2013, right? So when the entire mains was overhauled and they removed one of the optionals, they introduced more GS papers. This exam demanded a totally different approach, where the focus was more on testing your thinking abilities, right? Seeing your original aspects, your original thinking, originality, your individuality in your answers and essays. And that would be made only possible when you would put yourself into that practice mode, continuous practice mode. If you are writing one test, let's say once in a month or twice in a month, that would give you very less opportunity to explore the true potential of your thinking, right? So would give very less practice. So on that basis, I started this concept of core batch way back in 2014 itself, and it started giving really very good results. So in 14 itself, we got very good result, and 16 Nandini KR, she got rank 1. Then every year, so whichever good rank we are getting, and you have to see it from the context of very few numbers. So in core batch, we used to have like 20-30 students earlier, and then we increased to 50 students, and now we have put the limit on the core batch for 100 students. So out of these 100 students, we are getting at least 4 to 5 ranks consistently every year, and this year it has further increased nearly to around 10-12 ranks. The reason is that you people, when you start becoming part of the core batch, when you start writing so many tests, so I'll talk about details of the test. The core batch, you are already aware of the number of tests and all. When you start writing more number of tests, so what you are going through is a unique process that no other aspirant in any part of the country is going through. So that is the truth. So there may be people who are writing like say like 20 tests, 30 tests, even 40 tests also. But it is something like this, you know, they buy test series now, some test series they write, and then they carry it forward for another year, they write few tests, but most of it is irregular, right? Again, not continuous, it is for like 2 months, 3 months they do it, then there is a gap, again you might have experienced the same thing, right, in your own cases. Now, this core batch this year, which is going to start from 1st of August 2022, will have 85 plus mains tests, right? So last year we had around 60 plus mains tests in the core batch. So this year we have further increased it to 85 mains tests. And then there are 54 prelim tests. People will have the fear that the core batch is only focusing on the mains component. What about prelims? So we have aligned with the core batch and we have included 54 prelims tests. In addition to this, you will also get our textbook based test series, prelim test series free. That is for like extra practice, right? All of you would have completed NCERT and other textbooks. So those textbook based tests will be made available in your portal. You can give both online and offline mode. So that is your extra practice. And then the timetable is designed in such a way that by end of March, it was supposed to end by April, then I decided no, let us end it by March, so that you get at least 1.5 month proper time for prelims revision. So by end of March, there will be 5 revisions of all 4 GS papers. This is the most important component of core batch. So where starting from August, through frequent number of tests, that is around 80 plus, 85 plus mains tests, you will be revising all 4 GS papers 5 times, right? So there are 5 iterations, got it? And between every GS tests, what we have done is we have included prelims is there, but in addition to that, there is an essay test and there is an ethics alternatively. Like for example, between first 2 GS there will be an essay, next is ethics and then essay and ethics. It has so many essay and ethics tests. Undoubtedly, if somebody is writing every core test as part of the core batch, your essay and ethics, in ethics people struggle with the speed. Now I am seeing so many mains students here. Everyone's complaint is that I am not able to complete ethics paper. So as part of the core batch, by March you will be in a position to complete ethics paper. The 3-hour paper you will be able to finish on time with quality answers because of the repetition of the tests. Secondly, essay full length test. So the way we have designed is, first in the essay paper we will give you only 2 topics and we will force you to write 2 topics. It's a 3-hour test, but we are not giving you 8 topics. We are giving you only 2 topics. So the reason behind this is, there are many people who are still afraid of writing essays. So they want to go with comfortable topics. If I give you more topics, you will choose the easy topic, comfortable topic, and then try to write an essay about it. And again, when you write, it is mostly already the obvious stuff, again not so much of original stuff. Now as part of this core batch, I wanted to force you to bring the best out of you. First, remove the fear. When we actually put someone under pressure and force them to write or do something, unknowingly you will actually bring the best out of you. Again, this I have seen every year. People who are afraid to write anything in the essay would eventually, as part of core batch, end up writing very good essays by the end of the last iteration. That will happen to everyone who writes every test of the core batch. So if at all you are suffering in terms of not writing very good essays, or if you haven't written any essay at all, core batch is the best opportunity for you to first remove the fear and then start focusing on the quality, because here I will be coming regularly for core batch, and for OGP also I am coming regularly, where I will be personally evaluating your essays, right? So that feedback, your practice coupled with personal feedback will ensure that in both essay and ethics, not only quantitatively in terms of speed and in terms of number of questions you write, but also quality wise there will be a drastic improvement. And in my case, I totally focus on the originality, right? I am somebody who would not like to see any predictable patterns. I try to focus on the individuality to bring the best out of you and to make you present that individuality, originality in your answers. And if that happens, that will result in better rank for you. You can randomly ask any core batch student who has written mains, they would have easily scored 400 plus from 4 GS papers. Every year it happens. Like some of the people who get ranked from the core batch, I have seen that their score from 4 GS paper is always 400 plus, right. Now also I met, I think he is not here. So he got ranked last time, he got 410 from 4 GS papers. He was in the D core batch last year. And then again he has joined this year core batch by taking EOL from IPS. So the reason they want to be again part of this is, now for next year means your preparation has to start from now, right, not like after next year prelims. Every exam is a new cycle nowadays. You cannot rely on last year answer writing practice, last year notes, last year knowledge. You have to constantly update every part of the examination in terms of your writing presentation, the structuring, the content part of it. You cannot just, especially in optional, I am seeing so prominently that if you are relying on your previous year notes, then your marks will definitely go down. You have to improve your optional notes, I mean enrich your optional notes by referring to standard sources. Similarly, all your GS notes also. You might have already prepared notes for all GS topics from last year sources, but through Secure Initiative, through current affairs, whatever you are reading, ensure that while following the core batch timetable, you go on updating your notes as well, right. So once in 4 days there will be a GS test, right. So which means between each test you have 3 days gap, and within that 3 days there will be either one essay or ethics test. So the logic behind putting them is they require minimal preparation, not like your other GS papers, right, in terms of reading so many content. So what they require is a continuous approach of reading standard sources like editorials, collecting example from your different current sources, for which you can spend maybe half an hour to 1 hour every day, right, but not like your other GS paper where you have to read a textbook from end to end. In these 3 days, how will you manage your time for every core test, right? To manage your time, first you should have enough time with you. Secondly, you should have ready-made notes. Already notes should be there, which needs to be updated right now. Third one is you should be decently good with your optional. Now, while writing the core test, you cannot tell yourself that you will spend more time doing your optional. Either it can be coaching and then reading and then making notes, or following a test series. You should have decent confidence in your optional. Then only you can get maximum out of the core batch. So be honest with yourself. Just because someone else is joining, don't join the core batch, right? So people who joined core batch are those who have scored less marks in their mains in previous attempts, right? So either in essay or in GS papers, it is those people, those who want to improve. Or if you are a fresher, you are already good with your fundamentals, now we want to focus on answer writing and you are done with the optional, it is those people who join it. If these two are not complete, optional and some amount of, not some amount, the fundamentals, if they are not clear and some amount of notes is not made, then the core batch will be a trouble for you. I mean, you will write few tests and then you will leave in between, right? Not to make it happen, ensure that there is an alternative. If you are in this category, there is another super core batch in the month of October. So now in these 2 months, August and September, you can complete all your optional, all your notes making, right, revision of all your fundamental, the static part, everything, and then there will be another entrance examination, then you can write. If somebody has got scholarship in this, discount and everything, we can carry forward it to super core batch. But don't compromise your preparation just because some course is available here, right? So be very clear with that. And from January onwards, we will be adding with every test 50 MCQs. For example, if I am giving you a test on art and culture, modern history, that will have 50 questions on art and culture and modern history, which means every 3 days or 4 days, during that time that frequency will increase. once in 3 days, 4 days, we ourselves will be giving a small prelims extra questions apart from the regular 54 marks plus I think another like 40-50 marks from textbook based test series. You will again get so many prelims questions. So which will have some CSAT questions also. Got it? That is to remove the fear that you usually have that fear, like from January, if you are writing all the main test without giving prelims, you will feel that you are only doing mains, you are not doing anything for prelims. So here you will be doing prelims MCQs also. That is just an indicative, I mean it's a symbolic in my opinion. In addition to that, on daily basis you should be doing 50 to 100 questions, if at all you really want to crack that attempt, right? So that is to give you a kind of a suggestive that as part of the course we are giving this, but in addition to that you also do as many questions on everyday basis, right? That should be your approach. How many of you have written mains in last attempt? Very few. So most of you want to write, not most of you. Everybody wants to write, right? Right? Yes or no? You want to write only mains or get rank? Why so serious? A chashma after preparation started or before that you had glasses? Those who are wearing glasses? Before. मतलब school से? From school days? Just 2 days from school days only. मैं थोड़ा इंटेलिजेंट दिखने के लिए मैं आजकल पहन रहा हूँ. लोग मुझे बुद्धू समझते, सो आई थॉट एटलीस्ट माई वेयरिंग. तुम इसके ऊपर क्यों? दस फॉर योर ब्रेन. अच्छा, पास में दिखता है. गुड. यू हैव अ डाउट? यस. Yeah, please sit down. Okay, you are working in government or what? In government. Please sit down. So how many hours you get every day? 6 hours, 8 hours? Government मतलब पूरा 20 hours मिलेगा ना? Only 4 to 5 hours. कौन सा जॉब है? हाँ? अच्छा अच्छा, nice, good. So in fact, to be honest with you, whenever somebody asks if I should join core batch, I tell them if you are giving full time for the preparation, then only you should join. That is what I say. But if you are able to work only for 4 to 5 hours, you still have so much of time. Now that is where like it applies to everyone also. What you need to do is that because you have only 3 days gap, if you can give like 4 to 5 hours every day, you can still manage core batch every test. But in those 4-5 hours every day, your approach should be selective, right? So it should be priority based. Like don't go, this textbook approach, end-to-end approach. Now from where will you study the topics? Let's say for the first test is art and culture, the modern history, August 1. Now you have to start preparation for that particular test. How will you study? Now you will take, first source will be all your notes, whatever notes you have made, whatever notes, coaching notes you have. Maybe the second source you might think of is NCERT or something, that you would start reading these textbooks and notebooks, and third, any value addition material whichever you have. But in my suggestion, you should not be prepared in that manner, right? First day you identify all the important topics. From where will you do that? First, last 10 years, wherever static part is part of the next test, identify all the questions from last 10 years, right? So you will see that there are some topics which keep getting repeated. So you can go back another 5 years, but at least 10 years questions you have to note down. Art and culture, like ancient to modern plus modern history. These two are the syllabus. Note down all these questions. Second source should be any question that has appeared in the Secure Initiative last 2 years regarding these topics, right? Like have you seen the Secure Initiative? So from the compilation, note down all the questions, right? Third one, so this might look like bit extra far-fetched. Last 5 years history optional papers, optional history paper. From those papers, any GS kind of questions which are related to history in the GS part, right? So not like too specific, too technical questions in those optionals. I am talking about maybe like for instance in world history you will see there are general questions within history optional. Within Indian history there will be some general questions. So those questions which can come as part of the GS paper, if you think are generalist in nature, you take those topics as well, right? So that is the third part. Then, so going forward, like for example now you do the first iteration. So in the second iteration, whatever you have covered in the first iteration, all the history questions, right? You have to read them for the second iteration. So in the first iteration, restrict to these 3 sources, right? So they will more or less cover most of the topics. If you are perfect with these topics, your performance in the test will be very good. It will be, in fact, you will actually score very good marks. Now if you want to go with textbook based approach, now you want to start from these themes in Indian history from, so all the 3 books if you want to study, you won't be able to complete the textbook before the test, right? Not only will miss out so many tests, the revision will not also take place. Now being smart is get the depth in the most predictable topics, try to remember as much as possible and present it in your answer. That is smartness, rather than getting superficial knowledge across many topics and writing shallow answers, right? So writing good answers with better content will get more marks than writing more answers with shallow content, and shallow content is being punished hard in these last 2 mains. Anybody who writes any shallow answers in GS papers. Now if you see the trend in last 2 years is that your GS answers should not be too generic in nature, right? Not too obvious. There was a trend when history optional student would get low marks in paper 1 before 2019. Now last 2 years, if they are able to intelligently, smartly use optional examples, some of them are which are universe, well known, in their GS answer they are able to maximize their marks. Law students, PSIR students are scoring more marks in paper 2 nowadays. Earlier it used to be the reverse case, right? So ensure that your quality of example is more specific, is more qualitative. You cannot write any random obvious stuff and expect very good marks. So for that, making list of important topics, getting depth in them is the solution, right? And in the second iteration, when the second iteration comes, any missed out parts in the first iteration, if you think that you had missed out certain things in the first round, right? So like then you can open the textbook NCERT or something and then cover those questions. And also some of the questions that are there at the back of NCERT chapters, class 11th and 12th, don't ignore them. They might look simple and easy, but so don't ignore them. Maybe you can prepare those questions also. Got it? So that is how for every test you have to go about it. But before next test there will be a full length test also. Before next iteration there will be full length test. So like this you will be giving many full length tests. So here your target should be completion of the paper. But in the beginning it's about only the quality. For example, 1 hour we will be giving you 10 tests. The logic is again forcing you to, it's basically we force you to think really hard in that 1 hour. When I give you like 2 questions, you will end up writing 2 answers in 1 hour. If I give 10, you will end up writing 4 to 5 answers in 1 hour. So you won't realize that somewhere you are pushing your own limits to write more. But what some people try to do is that they would like to write all 10 answers in 1 hour. So they try to actually write 7, 8 also. So don't go with that. In 1 hour, let your focus be on answering only 4 to 5 answers with the maximum quality you can bring. So let your first and second iteration, the total except the full length test, be focused on the quality of the paper rather than the quantity. Our mind is something like this, the moment you look at the paper, you want to write maximum answers and then score more marks by writing more answers. So don't fall into that trap. So focus on the quality. Writing quality answers should become habit. So again that depends on the preparation. If you haven't prepared in that manner, the way I told you, then you will end up writing really like shallow superficial answers. Ensure that the focus is only on the quality. And speed without your knowledge, like without you struggling, will be taken care of. As I said, by February, March, you will notice that you will be able to write more answers regularly. I mean, you won't even actually notice it. Your brain, your hand, muscles, they will get accustomed because you are writing so many tests. And the biggest benefit of the core batch is that the discipline and consistency, right? Once you get involved in this, you will see that you will have no time to think about anything else. It won't allow you to think about anything else. Like you are like restless. So you have written test today, again after 3 days there is another test, right? So you are like on the go, like on an adrenaline rush, on a regular basis. I mean, this is a game changer because most of the people are affecting their chances by deviation, distractions, right? So not bringing that intensity into the preparation. This actually brings that intensity, right? So then once you build the momentum, what you need to do is that at any point of time, don't give up. Never stop writing. Sometimes it will happen that you won't prepare, for some tests, but even then come and give the test in the offline mode. Ensure that you come and give test in every offline mode. At any point of time, when you feel like, giving up, I haven't prepared and something, so don't give any excuse. Come to the center, take the question paper, use all your residual knowledge, whatever you can think in that moment, and try to give the test. If you break that momentum, if you skip one test, then you will have excuse to skip, in especially core batch, because another test will be within few days. You cannot complete the syllabus of previous, then you will think I will skip another one and borrow more time. It will keep on piling and eventually you will drop. What happens, out of 100 students, in the end there will be only 20-25 students who are writing all the tests, and out of that we see that like 5-6 students will go on to get the rank, and most of them will clear prelims. So in Bangalore this year what happened is that there are around like 27 students who are writing regularly, at least 22 of them have cleared prelims. and everybody has scored 110 plus in prelims, GS. So that is another advantage. Now writing all these tests, so many answers on almost every GS topic will ensure that your depth of understanding is so strong. So in prelims, any analytical question, any question with multiple options, so you won't have that confusion of 50-50 and other things. You will know the answer. For sure you will know that this is the answer. So that is the benefit of writing more number of answers, right? So I think I have told about this in previous session as well. So answer writing has direct bearing on the prelims course. So that is the reason why like people who are in the core batch go on to score very good marks in GS1. Now the problem is with the CSAT, right? So CSAT, though we will be giving mock test, even then with the core batch, my suggestion, my recommendation is that every day half an hour you have to give for CSAT. So no, don't compromise with that. You may be brilliant, very smart, you might have cracked CAT exam multiple times, right? But CSAT will only go on getting tougher. Next year you will see that it will be more tougher than this year. Now don't assume they made it tough and somebody will force UPSC to give easy paper. It's not going to happen that way. The paper will be tougher than this year. They will make it more uncertain, more weightage to one part, more tougher questions, something like that. And again, I have seen many people who took CSAT for granted have failed in CSAT papers. They would have given like 5-6 marks in the end, and they would have assumed that last year I cracked CSAT by scoring 80-90 marks. This year I will definitely crack. So all the answer writing, all your revisions, optional writing will go not in vain, will go waste if you ignore CSAT. कोई है यहाँ पे वो thinks that CSAT हो जाएगा मेरा. I'm very smart. I'm from IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi. No, I've seen again many IITians have also failed in this year CSAT. Anybody who failed in CSAT? Okay. Did you take it for granted or? No?
I was like previous year I have passed, so this year.
So last year pass हुआ था, this year also will clear. Good. So don't do that. Okay. And there is mentorship available in the core batch. So mentorship, I will be kind of alpha mentor, then there will be mentor for every 30-40 students also. So where any extra answer writing you do, any extra essay you write, right, and if you want to discuss the answer script that you have written, so in Delhi there will be 2 specific mentors only for the core batch. You can meet them regularly, you can show your copies, and in our institution this mentorship works very professionally, right. So you come, you show your answer, you show your essay, whatever it is, we will evaluate. Any doubts you have will be cleared. And for core batch, we usually put mentors like, so who have either already cracked the examination, right. There are many IPS who have taken UOL and who want to guide, and other senior faculties, those who are already there like 6 to 7 years, those well versed with answer writing, the different aspects of answer writing, they will be given mentorship. They will be acting as mentors, right? And you have to make use of that. So don't assume that you are already smart, you already know the tricks and everything. This is a continuous process. Every paper will have its own demand, every essay will have its own demand. The more you take feedback, the more improvement you will see in your overall preparation, right? And I will be having once in 15 days a Zoom meeting. If I am in Delhi, we will have a progress check of the core batch. So if you are writing the test, if you are going through certain problems, we will have direct interactive session where we will identify problem and will give the solutions, how to manage everything. More than that, how it will help is that it will make you accountable, right? So it will ensure that there is consistency on your part. When somebody is coming and taking into account like your issues, trying to give solutions, you are more likely to be consistent, right? So that will happen on a regular basis. Yeah, so you know that how the GS tests are designed. First, if there are like 4 to 5 tests for GS1 paper, first test will be of 10 questions, second test will be of 15 questions, right? If there is one more test, again it is of 15 questions. The last one will be of 20 questions. So first test 10 questions 1 hour, second test 15 questions 2 hours, right? So in the beginning, I promise you will not be able to write more than 4 answers, most of you. But if those who are running behind the quantity, like just like jumping, you will write 6, but your marks will be lower than those who write 4 quality answers. If you write 4 quality answers, you will get more marks than those who write 6 low quality answers. Right. Yeah. So from January onwards, the frequency of essay and ethics test will be slightly reduced, so that, yeah, so you study more of prelims overlapping topics. Yeah. And as part of the core batch, those who pay the full fees and join, or with scholarship or without scholarship, I will test series will be free for you. So it is part of the package. After prelims, you will get the I will test series. It will have 28 full length tests. So these 84 mains test plus 28 full length mains test after the prelims, that is part of the core batch. Secondly, this APEC course which we launch before prelims, that will also be free for core batch students. That advanced prelims enrichment course which we do in Bangalore and Delhi will be part of the core batch. So these are all the like free offerings which are part of the core batch. Now coming to you people, like how you can make use of it, how you should make use of it, whether you should join or not join. My personal suggestion is, if you are ambitious, right, if you are somebody who is looking to score minimum 400 plus in GS papers, 135 plus in essay paper, this is the best plan available anywhere in any institution, right? And if you write every test as part of this and use the mentorship, and if you use me also, like especially in essay and ethics, my personal feedback will ensure that something like getting rank in top 10 you can dream and achieve also. So that is the aim of the program. The program is designed especially in this year, from this year in Delhi, we want to manage it like more professionally in Delhi, because I am so serious about getting really top ranks either from OGP or from the core batch in 2023 CSE. So it is not a program where we will just give you a test and forget about it. So there will be regular monitoring, there will be regular assessment, regular evaluation, feedback, personal interactive sessions to ensure that we create a serious group of competitive individuals who are ambitious in thinking, who will go on to crack this examination in CSE 2023, right? So the only 2 conditions are CSAT and optional. Now you give me 300 in optional, say 280 also, 280 to 300 in optional, and crack prelims, right? Through this program, I will assure you that you are going to get a rank. I can give in writing also, provided you write every test, right? Even if you don't write every test, like 80% of the test, 70% of the test, and then constantly seek improvements, like how to write better essays, better ethics answers, better GS answers. If you are in this process without any kind of distractions, paper 1 prelims, I am very sure, I mean all these core tests will ensure 100 plus, and now the prelims is such that 100 plus should be the minimum, right? You cannot tell yourself I scored 90 and I might clear prelims. Cutoff is lower because the answer keys vary from actual UPSC key. So to be very certain, you should be somewhere around 110. CSAT also, if it is 90 plus, then you are very sure you are going to crack CSAT paper. Unless you have done only quant and getting 75, 80 exact marks, you have to be 90 plus margin. So if you ensure that you are going to clear prelims, then getting 280 plus in optional, one of you could be rank 1 also, rank 2 also, right? So that's a possibility, because here the kind of questions we frame, the kind of essay question, the GS questions, they are well researched, well thought out, and most of them intend to force you to think, right, in the examination hall. They are not outrightly factual questions where they are trying to test your rote learning. So because as I said, the exam has drastically changed where your thinking is tested. What is thinking? Both critical thinking and analytical thinking, and then constructive thinking also. So that needs to be evident, and that can happen only when you are reading standard sources and when you are practicing again and again. So this practice component is your savior, right? So make use of the program, write every test, any problem, any issue, we are always approachable, available as part of the institution program. We meet people who are even not part of the program also, like we don't discriminate, differentiate, and if you are already knowing us, we are open to feedback, suggestions, and we would like to give the best. So like if I am asking you to be ambitious, even I am also ambitious, right? So from that program, we want to achieve the most and set certain standards here, right? Any doubts?
Sir, as you have said, sir, before coming here, I was like crystal clear about joining this program. Sir, but as you said that if your optional is not that much clear, you should wait. Sir, the basic thing with me is that, sir, I am well versed with the optional. I have read the syllabus. I have completed the syllabus twice. But the major issue with me is that I don't have a proper note and proper channel of notes for my optional. So what should I do, sir?
Which option?
The law optional.
Okay. So you said you have read, you are well versed, done 2 revisions.
Yes, sir. I am very well versed with the concepts. I am very well versed everything. But the minute facts, the case laws, that like I don't remember those. So I don't have a note like some people have a collection of notes that they will revise once again.
But I heard there is an institution which gives that kind of notes.
Yes, sir. They do have those notes. It's good, sir. They are very nice. But for the self satisfaction, someone makes a note and like they revise the handwritten notes. That
Correct.
is very much effective as per my experience.
See, for that even someone before the session asked the similar question. So I told that your approach should be kind of twofold. Till November, you focus only on the previous year questions, right? So pick like 2 questions. What you need to do is that read existing material. While reading that material, you take this source, extra source that is available. Only for those 2 topics, you enrich your notes, maybe by giving like 2 to 3 hours in a day, and then you answer those 2 to 3 questions after 1 or 2 days based on the memory. So this will serve 2 purposes. One, you can have the target of till end of November, right? So not like very packed till November. I think you can stretch it out in a leisure way and try to complete your optional that way. So twofold is, one, you will be able to enrich your notes and then put it into test. For law optional, what I have heard is answering last 10-15 year questions is more beneficial than joining a test series or something.
So they keep repeating.
Yeah, so keeping ready-made notes for all of them. So you'll have notes also. You would have tested through this thing, and then in the month of December and January, go for full-length tests. So ask somebody to just make a full-length paper and try to write those full-length papers once in 10 days or once in 15 days in a leisure way. So if you can just bring discipline, like by putting 3 to 4 hours every day, you can manage it. It's manageable. But if you are taking coaching now, making your notes in the beginning, I think it will be very difficult.
No, sir. I am not taking any coaching.
You can manage core
Also,
batch.
I don't have any, I have notes, printed notes only.
Hmm.
I don't have my handwritten notes. That's the
Again,
basic.
no need to make handwritten notes, in my opinion.
So I'll keep reading those.
Better, no? Focus on answer writing for previous year papers.
And sir, like regular two questions previous year.
Hmm. 2 to 3. So those answers, it should be like answer come notes kind of stuff. You write answers, any missing example while revising, you can put there. I think that will be better approach.
Sir, note for book of selective reading.
Yes.
For the allotted times for the test. So, sir, someone want to read, does not read anything, want to read full, so he can't go for it.
No, you see, you cannot complete also. Again, if you want to complete, again, unless you are a fast reader, your reading is quick and you are able to comprehend fast, remember, you have very good memory, then you can go with that approach.
But the one's own note, you told about read the selective.
See, the idea is that it is on the assumption that you have already done that once or twice before. So, you are writing core batch because you have already completed either coaching or you have read it already once or twice, right? Now, again, going with the same approach is waste of time.
I think one should read own notes completely.
Yeah, own notes. I mean, if you can do it quickly, you do it. Definitely, you should do it. And again, for past year questions and all, what is the source? The same, your own notebook only, and the NCERT textbook.
So, sir, according to you, I should join right now, like core batches.
Joining will help because now what you will do. So, what is your strategy otherwise?
Sir, my strategy was, sir, you said that
2 months.
I need to be accountable to someone, sir. The basic issue with me is that, sir, I am not accountable to someone right now. Second thing is that, sir, I am very irregular with my study patterns. I am like not very regular with the study patterns. So I wanted this kind of test series, sir. So my strategy is like to join this test series, give test series every like.
You can manage like I said. I told you, 4 to 5 hours for core batch. You have so much time in a day, so give it for optional. You can manage.
Sir, is there any discussion after every test?
So that is there like discussion from Bangalore people will do because for every once 4 days we cannot bring people from Bangalore. So my suggestion is don't sit in the class even if it is there, even if we do it here also, the video will be there, right? So you watch the video, it will be quicker to watch and save yourself more time. Okay. Discussions will be there, videos will be uploaded after every test. So after that you can just watch the video. So who will sit like, if I am a student, I don't like to sit for 3 hours in a class. Right. Any other doubts? If you have any doubts, you can ask. Yes.
सर मैंने वाई में टू ज्वाइन किया और मेरी ऑप्शनल जैसे हिंदी लिटरेचर है
Hmm.
अभी वो कंप्लीट नहीं
Hmm.
तो सर मैं मेरा स्ट्रेटजी है कि मैं सिक्योर पढ़ता हूँ
Hmm.
और उसके बाद उसको लिखने का प्रैक्टिस करता हूँ
Hmm.
इसमें और क्या चीज़ लाने होंगी
Please sit down. Yeah. So I think better to focus on YLM till end of September. So don't get into core batch because you have to complete your optional. And secure you definitely continue 2 to 3 answers in a day, and once in a week you bring your answer and essays and show to the mentor here, right? Continue with the same approach, but at the same time, in addition to that, you do 1 or 2 more round of GS revision, whatever polity, geography, economy you have completed, history. So do 2 more revision so that by the time you finish in the optional and some test of YLM, by the time that super core entrance we do, you have notes, revision, everything ready, and you can focus on the core batch. So in super core batch, we'll have 3 iterations, right? Any doubts, others?
Sir, also another issue, sir. While I am writing the answer, sir, many times I lack the material. Sir, see, basically, if any question comes, I am well aware of that question. Not well aware. I am aware of that question. I know what the introduction will be. I know few parts of the body, but like basic structure. But sometimes when I start to write, I like don't make up the points at the moment. Like I forget the points, or I don't have that raw material to put it in the answer sheet. So like what to do for that, sir?
So as I said earlier, constant updation of your notes. right? So secure initiative is the solution for it. Now again, he has asked a good question in the sense that this core batch, what it will do is that it will improve this ability of, you know, thinking is there, but coming up with most sensible point in that moment. Even when you don't know exact answer, you will be able to think of the most relevant sensible point eventually, right? So because of regular test, that will happen, that will give you kind of courage. And if it is coupled with updated notes from secure, right, for every small topic, subtopic that is there, you should definitely have notes, your own notes, and your own notes with your own good example is a must, right? So you have to go for it. There is no shortcut here. If you want to differentiate your answer, I think the quality of arguments will be more or less same, because the question has a demand and you have to go with that argument only. For that argument, what kind of justification you are giving, the quality of example is what ultimately differentiates your answer from others' answers. So for every small topic, have a quality content, stats, data, reports, examples, Supreme Court case, whatever is relevant for every topic. Kannada, yes, Pradeep sir is there. Online, through online you can get the mentoring. But in Delhi, no.
What should be there in orientation for each subject?
For every subject, there will be a separate orientation. So, for example, geography, they will tell, again, I have given the broad idea. Within that, they will tell what to read, where to read, how to read, the specifics of that particular answer structuring. So, all those things they will cover in the orientation. Again, those will be for you, it will be videos for in Delhi, Delhi people. So, when what virtual reality or augmented reality, what is that? No, I mean the hologram thing. Augmented reality. So when that comes, faculty will be in front of you. No, not maybe metaverse or whatever. You don't know what is happening with the world. What?
Virtual plus augmented is better.
It is combined with IoT also.
It takes to that.
Tomorrow it will take your jobs also, like IAS won't be there. Recently I scared people on Twitter saying that after 10 years these jobs will vanish, UPSC will not be there, something like that. Those people who were thinking of 10 years were scared, like, so what will I do after 10 years? Yes, you have a question.
You said last time that in essay you have to develop your own uniqueness and individuality. How to exactly do that?
So his question is in essay how to develop individuality, originality. So one is the moment you look at the question, you think differently, right? I mean, when you are writing the exam, you look at the question, what usually people do is that they just want to go with the topic. Now, can you question the topic itself, right? So if there is any logical fallacy within the topic, or if there is any another dimension, right? If there is a counter argument for the topic, can you make it the main argument? Now, looking at the things from a new perspective, that is how it starts, bringing originality. Secondly, extra reading, right? Reading of extra books like non-fiction, fiction is must. Like there are many books, like we gave you a list, right? Then OGP group, no.
You just mentioned about, and you mentioned about the
Yeah. So we have a list of like around 200 books, right? So
You also gave a application.
the Blink list, yes. But my recommendation, if you're preparing for next year, it's better to read books than go for shortcuts. So there are books. I cannot just mention like few books here, right? It depends on your interest. So cultivate interest in like 3-4 broad areas, and for every broad area of interest, read like 5 to 6 unique books, very good critically acclaimed books, and from them you note down all the ideas, key ideas in those books, and they become your dimension in your essays. 30th I am doing a session on essay, right? So you can attend that session where so I had promised people who are writing mains that I will be doing few videos sessions on the essay writing. So first session is in Delhi only, offline mode 30th. So there I will be talking about what mistakes to avoid in essay writing. Secondly, how to bring these new dimensions in your essay. Third one is how to thematically prepare for the essays, right? I mean how to think for a keyword that is there in the topic and bring richness, variety, diversity in your essay. So attend that session, you will get total idea about it. So after that there will be another like 5 sessions where past 10 years all the topics will be discussed. So in a thematic way I will discuss all the topics. So that will help core batch students also. Any doubts?
Irrespective of batch, YLM, IPM, what should be a clear-cut and crisp strategy for current affairs? Like if I am following secure synopsis releases from last 2 years, then is it necessary to read newspaper again?
Editorial you read only for the sake of critical thinking. And वो वाला नहीं, actual editorial from the newspaper, the real editorial, raw editorial, and then current affairs quiz. If you are following secure synopsis, then you don't need to read even daily current affairs. If at all you are doing quiz plus synopsis, secure synopsis, and then editorials, 1 or 2 editorials, important editorials. Do this consistently, keep revising them consistently. That much is enough. And then current affair quiz itself is sufficient for prelim CA.
Someone is referring all those quiz, then is it necessary to read that again?
No. Good. So all of you are from? You are from Karnataka. So anybody from South? No. Which state? Tamil Nadu. So all others are from here only, surrounding areas. But I keep asking why you people are so serious than South people. But again you people, when you become topper, you people make more masti than South people, like celebration wise. But in classroom all of you appear really very serious. In South I don't know if I should call them non-serious students and you were like serious students. बहुत हंसते वहाँ पे, मतलब कुछ भी बोलो हंसते, लाइक यहाँ पे देखो इसको कर्नाटका से हंसता ही नहीं है. Look at him like he's very serious. So you don't have any questions? So usually I do motivational stuff and all. I think that is not required now when we do right. So the regular sessions we will do. So there I will be pushing you because you need some kind of pushing to write all the tests to stay on the course. So right now you make your decision whether to join or not. If at all you join the core batch, it is 100% going to help. There is no harm from the batch. Any kind of side effect is not there, right? It is only going to benefit you a lot.
Sir,
Poor at marketing.
sir, will it address the fear of prelims? Sir, will it address the fear of prelims?
100%.
Because from
I told you, no, CSAT, you take care of the CSAT, paper one will be totally addressed. Be good in CSAT and then optional. And you will remember these words like when you write mains. So optional, all of you are done with optionals? Good with optional? Good.
So we understand this core batch is for securing rank, not for just clearing every stage.
Good. So what I wanted to tell he is telling, like, so he is giving me conclusion. So this core batch is about securing the rank. It's not about cracking prelims, it's not about doing better in mains, right? What will also happen with the core batch is that you will become very familiar with me and our faculties, and we will understand you as a person also, right? So when you write mains and come for interview guidance, I will know what exactly to pinpoint and tell you, like where to improve. So I'll be more courageous, I'll be more bold in telling you this is the mistake and you have to correct it, right? So till interview it will continue, and beyond interview, unfortunately, if you don't clear, and then again you are always welcome, right? So that support will always continue here. And as he said rightly, this is again not just about securing rank. I have this dream, somebody should get rank 1, right? All of you have dream, right? Rank 1. It can happen. I mean, if you dream, it can happen. I think this program is something. Does anyone have something like this? Year long, so many. You have?
I have dream of secularism.
Oh, very good. Good. Keep it up. So as far as I know, I mean, nowadays people are, replicating these things, but we do it more seriously with, more professionally also, especially the mentorship.
Super core और core batch में same ही है concept.
The same test will continue from super core batch, from third iteration. So there will be 3 iterations there, right?
Fill वगैरह same question.
Huh. So minus these 2 months.
Sir, you are talking about the thinking. You are talking about the thinking. You last session, next session, you still talking about the thinking. I do not get what do you mean by this thinking word. Really didn't.
So he is saying that I keep talking about thinking. So he is not getting what exactly is thinking, right? So that's a very good question. How do I answer that? So let's say you want to write an essay or you want to write an answer. Now let's say the question is about what is secularism, differentiate between Indian secularism or Western notion of secularism. Let's say there is another question to that. Is Indian secularism under threat? Something like this. Now you know the definition of secularism. You know the difference between Western and Indian notion of secularism. The third part, it can be yes or no. Is Indian secularism under threat? Yes. You may have to think and answer. No, you may have to think and answer. Now for that you have to start with an introduction in your answer. Now what many people do is that they will directly start with secularism is, they define the secularism. Now in the very beginning of your answer, if you are defining secularism, then there is no thinking. Now when you are defining the secularism, you are not thinking, you are recalling. कहीं पे पढ़ा है notes में, you are at definition, you are recalling, reproducing. There is no thinking involved, right? Now that is not the introduction. Now you have to introduce your answer for the 3 parts of the question. Secularism, 2 types of secularism, and then whether it is under threat or not. Combining these 3, you have to give a broader idea of the very validity of secularism or the context of secularism, whether it is required or not, whether it is under threat or not, whatever you have, the entire answer idea you have, that should be crystallized in 1 or 2 lines and given as introduction. So now when you want to do that, what will you do? That is not there in your notes. You haven't written introduction in your notes, right? So in that moment you are thinking, right? So now your brain started working. How do I condense entire answer in 1 line, 2 line and present it in such a way that it is thoughtful? For a reader it appears thoughtful because there is a thought behind putting that line from your end, right? So that is what thinking when it comes to answer writing. Got it? When it comes to interview, if I ask you a question, why do you want to become IAS officer? Right? So what do you do? Still? हाँ, so इसलिए think करो, उसी में that is what thinking. Think करना शुरू कर, like why do you want to become IAS? You might get various reasons, right? So think करने के लिए there should be some facts available, some context should be there. So based on that you will arrive at a conclusion, an idea. So this is the reason that I want to prepare, right? So for various questions in that moment Some questions will force you to think in that moment, which means you had never thought about that in your life before that, for the particular topic or a question. So in that moment they are forcing you to think. So if you develop this thinking habit from the very beginning, in that moment you will think fast. If you haven't done this thinking at all anywhere as part of preparation, you have just reproduce content from one source to another source, there you will go blank. Got it? So that is what I meant by thinking.
So for mains PYQs, we go for 1992 or 2013.
Means for static you can go back little bit also, like I think 2000 to 2020 years is fine. For static questions, especially art and culture and world history, Indian history questions.
Someone told me from 1992.
I think 20 years is enough. I think prelims you can go back. If you have 30-year question, you can go back. Yes.
So in the last moment of exams, like it is very hard to revise from the bulky notes.
Hmm.
So how to make like the micro note classes so that it can help in the revision?
So I think that depends on individual to individual. Micro notes, everyone doesn't make, as far as I know.
I have gone through some videos like some topics are recommending you have your prerequisite like micro notes. They will save your time and will mark.
Definitely they will save your time, but I am not sure if this is the right time to start making it if you are going to be part of the core batch, because I don't think that will allow you time to make micro notes for every topic.
So we can do with every iteration. We should do small our notes.
So what I told, my approach is better, like first identify the topics, right? For them you can prepare either micro notes or whatever, like anything that you can quickly revise. And what is micro notes? So they are just the keywords. The moment you look at the keywords, they trigger both analysis and the larger facts related to those keywords. So I think that depends on individual to individual. I think what works best for you, you go with that approach. Now because they had made micro notes, you start making micro notes, months will go in that, but you are not putting them in your answer and not practicing, that won't help you in any way. And earlier I used to suggest you take such kind of notes available, right? Of course, again it is individualistic, right? Only that individual will understand that notes. You won't be able to understand. So join IPM and make notes, not core batch.
So इस बार GS3 में जो questions आए थे 2021 में तो काफी specific question आए थे जैसे S400 percent.
Every year it is there, like 3 questions, minimum 3 questions are very specific.
Like GDP calculation of 2014 to before and after that. These are very specific questions how to prepare for this question. Because बाकी जो secularism हो गया या फिर federalism, cooperative, ये काफी predictable होता है. But GS3 में जब ऐसे specific questions
See, even then you keep preparing only for the broad questions. If at all by luck you have studied, you answer it. Current affair questions they are basically, right? So you should know if at all there is a editorial on GDP. For example, if they say the very calculation, the method is faulty, wrong, they would have definitely written something about it. Earlier it used to be better, now it is not good. If you happen to read that, make note of it. So my suggestion, 80% of the paper is broad, right? Keep preparing for that. So don't look at this 1 or 2, 3 questions and narrow down your preparation to 2 specific topics, right? That is not the strategy. Ideally leave those questions if you don't know the answer. Okay. It's a very dangerous trend, like you run behind them and then you miss the bigger picture, right?
So you were just talking about secure synopsis.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm aware of it and
So every day we post like 6-7 questions on the website and we ask website followers to write answers. So for them we give model answers. Model answer come value addition material, and every month we compile it, and it's a free resource available for download on the website.
and then like the current affair also.
Current affair comes static, it will cover both.
So no need to follow monthly and weekly magazine which is now published by his side.
No, if you are following secure, I think you don't have to do that.
Sir, but the weekly or daily synopsis of current affairs contains a lot of material.
See, if you are not following secure, you follow them. But if you are following secure, you don't need to follow, because secure holistically covers.
But in secure there are specific 2 to 3 of questions of current affairs.
Hmm.
But with
Now for that I told you, do quiz compilations, daily quiz, RTM and daily quiz questions. There are 20 questions we are posting, 5 from editorial, 10 from RTM, 5 from daily quiz. So these 20 questions will cover anything that you are missing from secure. So I am asking you to minimize your resources, make maximum use of it.
Maximally sir जरूरत है physical synopsis करने
You have time, you do that also. Like, if you have time, you can do it. But ideally, right now, focus more on the basics, right? So you don't have time to do everything. Too much of current affairs also is not good.
Reading newspapers or
No, reading newspaper won't be helpful. Quiz, that is very much compulsory.
which quiz we have to read newspaper or we can
With quiz. Fine. So any doubt, we will wind it up. So since 9:30 I am like speaking matlab continuously with students. So in the afternoon, you get tired. Otherwise I would have talked more of some nonsense and pump. You have nonsense question, please.
Sir, if some question from the test is out of the notes, unique question you asked in the test,
Yes.
and the time is gone.
Hmm.
So how to address how to address these questions and how
So
to address.
anyway, we'll give synopsis for every test, right? So use synopsis to cover them. Read synopsis and keep reading synopsis. Now see, 85 test means leaving aside, I think, essay, there will be, I think, around still 70 odd tests, which means how many questions?
More than 700.
Hmm?
More than 10 each minimum, more than 700 questions.
Around 800 to 900 questions. I mean, if you consider 20 question test also, let's say 800 to 900. So as part of core batch, by March you will be writing 800 to 900, not write, cover. You will be writing maybe around 300 to 400 answers, but with synopsis you will be covering around 800, which means pretty much every dimension of every paper will be covered through these questions and synopsis, and that becomes your kind of a primary source for your mains also, both your answer scripts and especially the synopsis. If you keep revising that, you will see that in mains most of the questions are repeated. The topic will be repeated, not the question exactly, the topic will be definitely repeated. So you will see many advantages. Okay, you are also writing? इतना attention से सुन रहे हो आप? Like I am actually seeing him, like he is listening to each and usually cameraman लोग होते हैं ना, सुनते नहीं है, आप मोबाइल लेके chat करते रहते हैं. Like he is like listening to each and every word. लिखो, आप भी लिखो. Okay, I mean, nothing to lose, right? So wish you all the best. Thank you.